Last summer, every single Barca fan experienced blue balls when it came to the Nico Williams saga. We were told for weeks and for months and for days that he was going to be a Barca player at the start of the 24-25 season, and then the 24-25 season starts, and Nico Williams is still wearing an Athletic Club kit. He's still playing for Bilbao. So we're all sitting there with our dick in our hands thinking, what do we do now? We thought we were going to get Nico, who's one of the best players at the Euros, and now we're not getting him. What do we do now? This sucks. I hate blue balls, man. I hate it so much. But this summer, we haven't been able to bust yet. I'm sorry, I know that's graphic, but just stay with me for a second. We haven't been able to bust yet, but we're getting closer to it. We're getting so much closer to it, bro. I actually think it's going to happen this summer. Now, I've been holding off on talking about the story because, like I said, I still have PTSD from last summer, thinking that Nico was going to come to Barca, and it did not end up happening. But it's so much different this time around, man. Because last summer, it seemed like Barca were the ones chasing Nico. This summer, it's the other way around. Nico's the one that wants to come to Barca. He initiated the contact with Barcelona. The transfer news since Friday of last week have been so hectic, but they've been so optimistic, bro. Nico's willing to take a pay cut. He's willing to sit down with Barca's representatives. You know, Deco is flying to Ibiza. Hansi Flick is in Ibiza with Nico. They're talking about terms. Gigantes is reporting that, you know, everything's in agreement. All that's left to do is pay the release clause. Now, that's going to be difficult. Of course, we know that as Barca fans, nothing when it comes to the finances is ever easy with Barca. Because, you know, Joan Laporta can talk about the one-on-one. I don't think Barca are back to the one-on-one just yet, and it's going to make it difficult to bring in a player like Nico if there's not exits. But I think sooner rather than later, the 2025-2026 season is going to happen with Nico Williams wearing a Barca kit. I really do believe that. And overall, my feelings about this are I'm super proud of the way that Barca have been moving this transfer window. Fuck it, man. For the past two transfer windows. Like, because going back to last season, it wasn't really a transfer signing, but bringing in Hansi Flick was not a Barca-like move. You know, Hansi Flick didn't spend time at La Masia. He didn't play for Barca. He's not Spanish. That was the mold for Barca coaches my whole life. Did you play at Barca? Were you at La Masia, or are you Spanish? But we brought in Hansi Flick, was obviously a beautiful German man who didn't spend any time at La Masia. And look how that worked out. We had our best season in years. And this summer, man, we didn't just stay pat when it came to the goalkeeper position. We signed Joan Garcia, the best goalkeeper statistically in La Liga last summer from a direct rival in Espanyol. Obviously, they're not a threat to Barca, but they're a rival of Barcelona, and we got their best player. Amazing, bro. A guy who was insanely good. We've been crying for a new goalkeeper for so long, and Barca listened, and they didn't go out and sign some old fucking guy from some team I don't know where. They signed Joan Garcia, a young up-and-coming keeper who we're all so optimistic and excited about. He was officially presented, I think, today or yesterday as a Barca player, so that's done. And now, we're hearing about Nico Williams, again, a super intelligent signing who fills a position of need. Barca have been crying out for another winger for so long, and now we're getting, again, one of the best wingers in La Liga. I understand that Nico didn't have the best season in terms of production, in terms of like his numbers that he had in terms of goals and assists. But we saw him at the Nations League. We saw him at the Euros last summer. This guy has connection with those Barca players, with Pedri, with Lamine Yamal, with Dani Olmo even. And he will thrive if he comes to Barca. He will thrive. Again, we haven't gotten to here we go. We still have to hear about the release clause and how that's going to end up working out because Barca have to pay that. We know that. We know that Barca have to pay the release clause, and Bilbao want it all on one payment. They don't want it in terms or installments. They want it all at once. Here's a 60 million for Nico. Give us the player. They don't want it to be like 10 million here and then 10 million next summer and then 15 million the year after that. No, they want 60 million up front, which again is going to be difficult. And Joan Laporta, we know he's kind of a charlatan sometimes. He likes to talk a lot, but a lot of times it doesn't end up coming true. And even if we sign Nico, we got to ask ourselves, can we register him? Who's going to leave? You know, what players are Barca willing to sell to facilitate the signing of Nico Williams? Because that's something that has to happen. Barca have to sell players. So this might not happen in the next week, in the next 2 weeks, in the next 3 weeks even. It might take a month until we officially get the here we go of Nico Williams. But again, the way that Barca are moving, it should make us all very optimistic as fans because, you know, like for the longest time, especially under Bartomeu, Barca made all these signings that were luxury signings, but we didn't really need. Coutinho was a signing that, yeah, at the time it seemed good, but looking back at it, did he really fit Barca style? Was he a Barca type of player? No. Griezmann, we didn't need Griezmann. You know, he's a great player, an all-time great, but we didn't need Griezmann. Ousmane Dembele, all these guys that we used to sign for all this for this big money, and you know, we see how their careers panned out at Barca. This time around, we're not making as expensive as signings. We're not going out and getting the biggest star, but we're getting smart signings. And Nico Williams is a smart signing. So I'm super proud of Barca and the way they're moving. Again, the Joan Garcia signing as well is a huge step forward for the club. We couldn't go into next season with Ter Stegen. We couldn't go into next season with Szczesny. I love him, man. I love Szczesny. I made a shirt. Obviously, you guys know this brand. I made a shirt for Szczesny. I don't know if I'll release it, but I made a shirt for Szczesny. I love the guy. But he's not. He was a guy that let us down, I think, in the biggest moment of the season. And I don't think Joan Garcia is going to do that. So again, I just wanted to come on here. I told you guys that I was going to wait until we got the Here We Go to talk about Nico Williams. But I think that now it's getting closer and closer for us to actually see this dream become a reality. And I think that the way that Barca have been moving, the Luis Diaz rumors were pissing us all off, man. Because again, he's a guy who's older, who doesn't have the ceiling of Nico Williams, in my opinion. And he's not as versatile as Nico. With Nico, man, this guy, he can play. I mean, yes, he's primarily a left winger. He thrives in that position. But you can move Nico Williams centrally. I think he can thrive as well. He's such a talented player, bro. He's such a talented player. His football IQ is so high. Like I said, I saw him against France. We all saw him against France in that Nations League game in the semifinal. He took that game over, bro. He took that game over. He was arguably the best player on the pitch, on a pitch with some of the best players in football. And while again, I understand he didn't have the best time at Bilbao in terms of numbers this season, if you watched him at Bilbao at all, which I did, you understand that, and you saw that he was still producing. I mean, he was still doing his thing. Just he didn't really have the GA to show for it. And last summer, like I said, it seemed like we were chasing him. We wanted him so badly, and he wasn't ready to make that move. But now it seems like he's ready to make that move, and more importantly, he wants Barca. That's the most important thing here, man. He wants Barca. You want a player that wants to come to your club. You don't want a guy that's kind of being forced to go there. He wants to go to Barca. Bayern Munich were in for him. They wanted to sign him. They were ready to offer. They were ready to sit down with the player, and he wanted this insane salary. So they were like, you know what, maybe not. But with Barca, he's willing to take a pay cut. That's how much he wants to go to Barca. He's willing to take a pay cut. So again, it seems like Barca are back to having that pool again. It seems like Barca are back to moving in a really, really intelligent way in the transfer market, which I'm so proud to see. There's still other things Barca have to do. Like I said, do they get rid of some players? We got to talk about Araujo as well, because, our reports are coming out that Deco wants to keep him, and Juventus is so interested in Araujo because we know that they were interested in the wintertime when Araujo was probably going to leave. Is that a guy that you sell to bring in Nico Williams? Do you sacrifice Araujo for Nico? I love Araujo. He's one of my favorite. I would say he's one of my favorite players on this team. I love the whole Barca team, man. I don't really have favorites, but I really, really love Araujo, man. I really do. I think he's a fantastic player and a guy who, yes, in the big moments he kind of doesn't really show, but I'm not gonna sit here and attack the guy because I'm not gonna do that. I think he's still a great defender, in my opinion. Again, could he he's a little rough around the edges at times, but he's still a great defender to me. But I would sacrifice Araujo for Nico. I would. Now, I would rather sacrifice other players for Nico, but I would sacrifice Araujo for Nico. I think that would be a smart decision. You get rid of Araujo, you bring in Nico. I would be happy if that happened. So we gotta see what happens. Joan Laporta's gotta do his job again. Another question that has to be asked is, can we register Nico? We saw this whole fiasco last season with Dani Olmo and with Pau Victor. We signed them both, and there was times where they weren't on the roster of La Liga because we didn't have them registered. Because the money for the boxes from the Saudi guys, it turns out it wasn't all in one season. It was like installed. It was some bullshit, man. I'm not gonna bore you guys with that, but it was some bullshit. Just know that we weren't really back to the one-on-one like Joan Laporta said we were. But we'll see what happens. I'm super optimistic that this is gonna happen, and yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. I cannot. When the video of the Here We Go comes, like when we get the Here We Go, if we get it, I'm obviously gonna make a more in-depth video talking about what I believe Nico can achieve with this Barca team. I just don't want to get my hopes up too much just yet because it hasn't happened. But I haven't posted in a while. I wanted to get out a video to you guys. Also, I wanted to make this video to say thank you guys so much for the support on the final thread, man. My brand that I launched. I appreciate you guys so much. Everybody that bought a shirt. It means a lot to me, man. I understand a lot of you guys can't buy a shirt or you don't like the shirt, whatever it is. That's fine. I love you guys anyway. I love every single one of my viewers, man. I appreciate you guys so much. If you guys do want to get a shirt, we have this one, the Pedri one, which I'm wearing right now. I'm rocking it. We also have the Ferran Torres one. You can check the link in my description. You can buy one. I ship out orders every single day, basically. Every time I get an order, I get super happy, man. Thank you guys so much. I leave notes on all the orders as well because, it's kind of surreal to me, man. Honestly, I never thought that owning a business would be this fun. It's actually really, really fun, bro. Every time I get an order, I get super happy. I pack that shit. I write a letter. I drop it off at the post office so you guys can get your orders in time. So thank you guys so much, man, for all the support. It means the world to me. Honestly, it does. Like I said, if you guys want to get one, you're more than free to get one in the description. The link is there. And yeah, I love every single one of you guys. Let me know your thoughts on what you believe is going to happen with Nico. Do you think he's going to come to Barca? Do you think it's all just smoke? And yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. I love every single one of you guys, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.